Rill is the fastest business intelligence tool for humans and agents, and let me show you why using Cursor. Now I'm going to start with a fresh project. I'm going to use the Rill init command. I'll accept a few defaults. I'm going to choose one of the example projects to give me data to work with. I'll install the Cursor instructions, and that's all of that ready to go in the background. And I will start my local Rill development environment in cloud preview mode, which gives me this nice environment. So this is a replication locally of our Rill cloud environment. So it doesn't include our IDE. The reason I don't need the Rill IDE is because in this case, I prefer to use Cursor. In other words, I can use whatever tooling I like to do my development work. And here I have that environment. I have the Cursor rules have been set up. So these are all the things that the coding agents need to know to work with the Rill product. We have the local MCP server configuration for the Agentic work. And I have, for instance, the file that's defining all the metrics. Now, this list of metrics here is revealed in this particular data explorer here. And some of these metrics are also being shown through in the executive view, as we've called it here, a custom layout where I've chosen specific metrics and visualizations in a custom layout. And I want to update this, and I want to update the underlying data exploration all through code. So let's go back to Cursor. I'm going to add a new metric into this view here. So I'm going to say add a CPC cost per click metric to bids. And it's going to do a combination of looking at its instructions to understand the Rill environment, and also I've pointed it directly there at this file. And there's the new metric popping in. So if I flip across to my development environment, I can see that is being made to me available instantly. So I can immediately see the changes being made. And on the Cursor side, if I flip into the Git view, initialize this as a repository and commit this, that change and indeed the entire project is now ready to be deployed up into Rill Cloud. But we'll stick with the local development environment because it's really nice how quickly you can work when you've got everything, including some sample data locally. Now I might want to make more changes. Let's say change the currency format to euros. And we'll see if it picks that up. So I have a number of fields that are defined as dollar signs. And we can see it's picked up all of those throughout the file. So that's great. Let's switch across and see. There we go, euros at the top and on all the currency things. So that's another successful change. I'll keep all of those. And that's me with a new metric. And because I have the Rill Explorer environment where we do an automatic dashboard build, I don't have to do anything other than publish this for all of my users to have access to that metric. But let's accept all these changes. But I might want to add this to that executive overview. So add CPC to executive overview. So that's saying I have a custom layout where I've chosen my individual selection of KPIs and visualization types, and I want to add what I've just added into the metrics explorer into that custom view. And if I flip into that, there's that CPC, and it's also been added, I see, into this table at the bottom right. In other words, it's done quite an intelligent selection of where this metric should be added into the top level KPIs and also into a detailed table at the bottom of the report. So that's pretty cool. As well as doing the more analytical functions, if you like, I can do something maybe a little bit more prosaic, but still important, which is the branding. I want to add a logo. So add image logo to top left, give it a URL there. And We'll let that run. And there we go. That's been added in. And there's my logo coming in. And I might play around with the layout of that to get what I want exactly. And again, if I go back to my development environment, this is, I'll just call this the CPC metric change. So what we've got here is the ability to use exactly the coding workflow that you prefer to use. I'm using Cursor. I could be using any of the coding agents in conjunction with Cursor, doing all of this locally, or I could use Cursor's web agents to do this as well and just make edits against a GitHub repo. But in other words, taking full advantage of agentic workflows and modern CI/CD deployment methods. So that's Rill. There's so much more you can do, and thank you for watching.